Welcome to Entertainment Fanatics. I'm your host, Doan Nguyen. On this episode, I'm interviewing Kent Haywood, who is a professor of cinematic arts at CSULB. We discuss his background in the entertainment industry, his experience of attending the Berlin Film Festival, and more. Thank you for listening and enjoy the show. Can you share with our listeners your background in the entertainment industry?
Oh, sure. Yeah. Well, I've been working in both the film entertainment business and teaching about film for maybe 20 years or so now. And I worked for a long time in visual effects on some big movies and small movies. Big movies like Inception and small movies like stuff nobody's heard of. And also on TV shows, and I was in the Editors Guild for a while. And now I teach film to the young filmmakers of tomorrow, and also talk about green film and social responsibility and environmental responsibility in filmmaking. But so I've done a little bit of a lot of different things.
You mentioned that you recently attended the Berlin Festival. Would you tell us about your experience at this film festival?
Sure, yeah. The Berlin Film Festival, also called the Berlinale, is one of the big, I don't know, maybe five biggest film festivals that filmmakers get excited about. Um, People really get excited about, Sundance and the Venice Film Festival and well, I don't know, there's all of them, but yeah, Berlin is in one of the top five, and it's it's kind of a big festival in that there's, lots of red carpet stuff and fancy premieres of films from all over the world. But it's also small enough that you can really meet people and talk to people and and if you're whether you're attending to watch festivals or as a filmmaker, you have access to a lot of different um, you know a lot of different kinds of films and a lot of people that you don't get in some of the other places. Um, but so I was just there, not as a not with a film or attached to anything. I was just there, kind of observing and having some meetings, and also I was invited to speak at a related group about green filmmaking. My book, and meet with a group called the there was a conference. It was sort of a related conference, a side conference to the Berlin Film Festival, called Sustainable Film Schools, and it was like um, what are we, sort of the state of sustainability in film schools, and that was really quite interesting, and I met a lot of great people there. Uh, yeah, but yeah, it was a lot of fun. I got to see Berlin, and I got to see um, some this some of the film schools that they have out there in Potsdam, and I met some really quite interesting people who are doing great things in the film space and sustainability space.
Was there any piece of work that stuck out to you there?
Oh, well, I I was there to mostly meet people, and I didn't watch as many films as I wanted to, but one film that uh, that I was really interested in was by my an old professor of mine who who was there, and his name is James Benning, and he's somebody who's got films. Uh, seems like he's got films playing every year, and he's um, had I think two openings that year. Um, but I don't know. He's really famous for experimental films, like I don't know. El Valley Centro is about the um, California Central Valley, where a lot of our food comes from, and but he had a film playing at the Berlin Film Festival called Little Boy, and uh, and yeah, that was pretty exciting. He's like a minimalist filmmaker and artist, and he's actually good friends with um, Richard Linklater, another sort of maybe artsy but Hollywood related as well, Texas filmmaker, and they're buddies, and they were both there actually um, at the Berlin Film Festival too. So. But he's a guy he's a good inspiration of somebody who just does simple films by himself and uh, works with a lot with his hands, and he's so, gosh, I don't know, and he's at maybe 80 years old now, so it's a good way to go. I'd love to make films like that too. Keep going until I'm 80 years old.
That's that's very cool. Thank you. What's your approach to teaching?
Oh, that's a good question. What's my approach to teaching? Well, I feel like when I'm teaching, I am leading or helping to guide the students through experiences that they can learn from themselves. Or another way to say that, I guess, is I feel as a teacher, I want to inspire students to do stuff themselves. So I feel like when you're teaching, or I feel like when you're doing something, that's when you're really learning and getting your hands busy and making things, making films, making projects. That's where the learning happens. So sometimes the classroom isn't really about hearing me talk about stuff. The part where people get the most fun part is the doing. So I want to facilitate the doing, and that's yeah, that I think is my part of my teaching philosophy is have fun with it and learn about. I want to make students learn how to have fun with each other and how to engage and I don't know, uh, um, and play. A lot of creativity in filmmaking is just about play, and I think that um, some of it is learning to play and play well with others.
What was your favorite piece to work on?
Oh, ever like my favorite film that I ever worked on?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good question. Let's see. Well, of my own films, I guess it's always the most current film that I'm working on, but the one that comes to mind right away is I made a walking film of my own where I decided I wanted to walk across Los Angeles. And I started from the sun up and went till sun down. And I walked from sort of the Silver Lake area all the way to the beach at sunset. And every like 10 steps or so, I took one single frame of film. And that film was called Sunset to Sunset. And that was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed that. And I edited some stuff in the background using After Effects. And I've been thinking about making another walking film like that. So um, that's on my mind right now. Uh, I also like walking, and I like this idea of being in nature and seeing things, and green filmmaking, which I know we'll get to in a second. But the other, I don't know, as far as a big film um, that I worked on. Well, I worked for a long time with this company called New Deal Studios when we made a lot of miniatures and models for movies. And for example, The Aviator, we made a bunch of airplanes and stuff, and um, made a really cool airplane crash. Uh, but I think one of the most fun projects that they did that I worked on was called League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, and it's a DC comic movie, and I don't think I have a credit in the film, but the company, we worked on it for a long time, and we made all these cool. We made like the city of Venice, and we had maybe, I don't know, 50, 100 people working on this, but we made like gigantic model of Venice with these buildings that were, like 20 feet tall. They're still miniature, but they're 20 feet tall. And we made them like, or maybe they were 10 feet tall, I don't know, but they were big. And we made them like collapse because the sequence we were doing involved Venice, the city of Venice falling into the water and sinking, and things crashing and cars smashing into things. And it was super fun to help um, put that together. Mostly, I mean, I did a tiny bit of help with the construction of the models and the things that we were blowing up, but mostly I did help with like the media, um, filming some things, some pre-visualizations, some dailies. But it was just a fun show to work on, and just to watch what some really talented creators could build, using ingenuity, using innovation, and just their brains, and the fun of the creativity was exciting.
That's awesome. Can people watch your walking project somewhere?
That's a good question. Yes, let's see. Um, that one you it's called the Sunset to Sunset. You can watch on there's a YouTube channel. I have a YouTube channel that where you can watch it. Some of my work you can also access on um, my website, kenthayward.com. And I have another project that you can find some of my work, lunarestates.net, which is sort of a new project, the web series I'm working on about the idea of buying land on the moon. Um, and there's a few episodes of that project as well.
Thank you for sharing. What has filmmaking taught you about yourself?
Ooh, wow, that's a really good question. What has filmmaking taught me about myself? I think it has taught me to trust my instincts. And that's sometimes hard when you are a person who wants to try new things or has great ideas and is excited about doing ideas, but not sure that you can do them. Like everybody wonders, oh, can I do this thing that I'm dreaming about that I want to do? Um, and I think filmmaking has taught me that yes, if I trust my instincts, that they're going in a good place and that they're going to turn out. So I guess that's something I try to tell my students too, is that lesson that, yeah, believe in yourself, believe in your ideas, and believe in your your instincts. They came from somewhere, and trust that source.
Why did you write the book Green Filmmaking: A Guide to Sustainable Movie Production?
That's also, yeah, really good question. Here's the book right here. It's a, I noticed on some of the big projects that I worked on that there was a lot of, um, a lot of waste. If and we live in a, well, sort of a wasteful culture. If you've ever worked in probably any job anyone's worked in, you notice we throw away a lot of things and we don't always recycle things. And the same is true for the film business. So some of the programs that I worked on, TV shows and movies, I noticed that at the end of the project, it was a real scramble to clean up. When we got to cleanup time, just like in kindergarten, we realized, wow, we made a really much a bigger mess than we thought we did. And so a lot of things got thrown away in the dumpster and not even recycled properly. And it wasn't because the people there didn't want to. If we would ask them, like, hey, do you like to recycle and reuse? They would say yes. But making a movie is really demanding, and it's hard to find the time to plan properly. So that's why I wrote the book, is to help people plan how to be sustainable and how to approach each department of production in a way that makes ecological and economic sense. So people in the camera department can say, "Hey, I'm the cinematographer on this show, and I'd like to use, instead of using tungsten lights, which are really, look quite nice and look beautiful, I can achieve the same effect with these LED lights, which are going to save a lot of energy and probably be more lightweight and produce less heat. And they are uh, hopefully going to look the same. Sometimes the different lights don't look the same, but there are other, but that's an example that a cinematographer who's lighting a set can say, like, all right, I can find ways to use tools that are more energy efficient. Same thing in transportation. You know, if there's a truck, maybe we have to rent a truck to move our equipment around, or maybe if it's a larger project, we have lots of trucks to move things around. Well, are there ways that we could use an electric cargo van that isn't going to be emitting lots of smoke and particulates and pollution? How can we carpool? How can we do simple things like, instead of leaving the truck running while we're loading it, turn it off? Um, a lot of Some of it is really quite simple and easy to follow. But everybody can participate, I think, and so I wrote my book also addresses how actors can be interested in sustainability, how writers can write green moments into films, whether they are writing directly about climate change or whether they are writing about, um, a small moment where a character, um, I don't know, brings their own mug for their coffee instead of getting a paper cup to throw away, or says something about styrofoam or plastic waste as a joke that's a funny in the moment, but not necessarily a lesson. Uh, so that's called climate storytelling, and that's a way of bringing in climate moments and green moments into your writing. But there's all kinds of other chapters in the book about, um, you know, different people who are getting jobs in to coach to coach productions on how to be sustainable. Um, People who are getting jobs as what we call eco PAs or sustainability coordinators, things to do at RAP, things to do with food and catering. Uh, and yeah, the book has been, as I researched it, I really discovered that it's a very big topic. There's a lot of, not only are there, you know, uh, there's a lot of things to do in sustainability in filmmaking, but there are a lot of jobs out there too. And if people know how to be sustainable, they can really make themselves employable. It's another skill, just like learning how to set a C stand or record audio. Uh, Sustainability is another job, is another skill that will get you hired.
That's important work. Thank you for your contribution. Why do you why do you think media has the power to change society?
Wow, boy, you've got some good questions. Um, why do I believe that media has the power to change society? Well, I'll give you some examples. Um, One example is I'll give you a bad example and a good example. Here's a bad example is I like old movies, and and as a film teacher, I find myself teaching about a guy named D.W. Griffith, who is he made a film called Birth of a Nation, and that was a really important film for storytelling because it uses a lot of techniques about, shots and close-ups and angles and cross-cutting in a new way, an important way. But D.W. Griffith is also pretty racist, and he made horrible, stereotypical depictions of African Americans, of Asian Americans, of not even just Asian Americans, Asians, and Native Americans, and indigenous people, and lots of horrible, horrible stereotypes. And his movie, Birth of a Nation, showed the Ku Klux Klan in a positive light. It was a time when nobody, it was a time when I think a lot of people thought that that sort of racist group like the Klan was going away and was just sort of a bunch of kooks. Um, but the film made it popular again, and a lot of people joined up because of that film. So that's one example of how a film that shows, in this case, uh, a negative portray something bad, the Klan can, and it showed them in a heroic light, encouraged a lot of people to join. Um, so, but a couple of good examples, I guess I'll give you two. A lot of movies, old movies, used to have smoking in them, and then there was a concerted effort to stop showing smoking and to talk about how and to realize that that was causing cancer, and that the tobacco industry was really responsible for a lot of harm to people's health. And so uh, you started to see less smoking in the movies. We started to get anti-smoking campaigns. You started to get uh, public service announcements about the dangers of smoking, and that really um, changed the culture and changed people's minds about smoking. Um, in Especially after, smoking had been such a part of like the glamour of old movies, partly because of the influence of tobacco companies. This is maybe a better example is even the seatbelt laws. People didn't wear seatbelts for a long time, and but then so there was a campaign from Hollywood and from uh, ad health safety advocates to buckle up, and you would see stars talking about like, use your seatbelt and buckle up. And now you wouldn't even think about getting in the car without putting your seatbelt on, unless you just totally forgot. But most everybody has no problem wearing a seatbelt. So those are some examples of mentions in movies that have changed. society and people and their minds. So young people who are making movies and working on movies and writing movies have a real opportunity to make change.
Those are great points. Would you would you talk a little about your experience of being a co-founder of the Green Screen Film Alliance?
Oh yeah. So the Green Film School Alliance, the GFSA, is a group um, uh, of schools that have decided that the idea of being green and sustainability is important to us. And we started really with just, three or four schools. Um, and now we've got, uh, in 2020, we started up and we sort of launched and have now gotten ourselves up to over 50 schools in, oh, I don't know, I think seven or more countries. And we're committed to the idea of making sustainable production uh, a normal part of production. So uh, we're trying to teach curriculum that encourages sustainability and doesn't, you know, and doesn't encourage the sort of macho waste that a lot that maybe was associated with the past. We're in a post-climate change era, and so the Green Film School Alliance is all schools that came together and said, we think we can do something about this. We're teaching the filmmakers of the future, and we want to, how can we encourage, um, you know, change from um, uh, practices of our students. So yeah, so Erica Elson and Heidi Kinberg and Harry Weiner and I are some principal members on the executive board, and we meet um, every weekly to try and inspire change in our in the group and in the community. And we've got the Green Film School Alliance has meetings where we encourage each other in our practices. We have a checklist that we've adopted called Peachy, where filmmakers can get it for free at the greenfilmschoolalliance.com. And uh, the Peachy's got a checklist of practices that filmmakers can use to be more sustainable in every different uh, uh, field of production in every different department. And it's um, free access. There's no membership. Schools who want to join can just join. And um, it's been a great experience to meet like-minded people and support each other, uh, and it feels like we're making some real change, which is great.
Last question. What advice would you give our listeners who wants to have a career in the entertainment industry?
Mm, yes, an important question. Advice for people who want to get a career in the entertainment industry. Um, Two answers. Number one, just go do it. And number two, do something yourself. Um, so, one of the hardest parts you know, to getting started is just figuring out how, how am I don't know the people, I don't have the access. Well, you do, people, everybody knows people who are related to entertainment industry and or somebody who knows somebody. I didn't know you, Don, until today, and now we know each other, and we can stay in contact and share information. And that's called networking. You're part of a network, and when you meet people, you have access to people that they know. So that's how you get started. You just do it. You just start talking to those people and say what you're interested in, and before you know it, you've followed the chain and you've got a job and you've got a career. It takes a little while. It's a lot harder than that, but that's what you do. And so that's the just do it part. And then the do it yourself part is sometimes you can't really wait for other people to come to you to give you a bunch of money to make your dream project. You have to just uh, you know, do it yourself. And sometimes that means starting with a smaller project. So usually that means partnering up with people that you know, people who make films or make videos or make TikTok projects or make, even Instagram or other social media posts. Like there are so many ways to make interesting media, and just start where you are and do it yourself. And you may, once you start, you might say, hey, I'm going to make a company. I can make it. There's a lot of different ways to make a partnership or make a company or make a collective, an informal collective where you guys just make stuff together. And that's the do it yourself part. And I think that's really important for young filmmakers today.
Thank you so much for joining us today, Mr. Haywood.
Thank you. It's been my pleasure. Thanks so much, and good luck with all the episodes of this great podcast.
If you want to know more about his work, check out his personal website at kenthaywood.com. Thank you for listening. See you next time.